The Colts are in a weird spot. Carson Wentz went down with a foot injury today. His return is indefinite. It is unlikely that he misses too much of the regular season, but you're talking about the regular season now. This isn't an injury in June that heals before the season starts. Injuries now can cost you the season, even a minor foot issue. And feet issues, they don't go away. Those aren't like in, out, you're done, right? Guys, like I was listening to the Ravens presser earlier. Sammy Watkins has dealt with foot injuries his entire career. You know, I'm sure Jack can tell horror stories of Sammy Watkins being on the injury list a million times for foot problems. Foot issues don't go away. Carson Wentz has a foot issue. This is not good news for the Colts. This is awesome news for the Titans, and the Jags and Texans probably aren't contending, so whatever. But how do you guys feel? What should the Colts do? Do you think it's Jacob Eason for a couple weeks? Do you think they should go get a Nick Foles, who could be a potential cut guy in Chicago? Do you go get a Brian Hoyer or a Jarrett Stidham who's going to get cut? One of them is going to get cut from New England. I can't imagine both of them play. Like, what do you do going into the 2021 season now?
Honestly, I've got to try Eason for a little bit. You know, you've got to put the confidence in him. Maybe you give him like that sense of urgency. Say, hey, you're the guy now. We need the team's relying on you, and see how he replies with that pressure.
For sure.
But also, you want to go out and get a Brian Hoyer, get someone that gets cut, because you want that, I guess, that competition, but also that guy to fall back on. Yeah, he might not be the best fallback, but last year the Colts had Phillip Rivers, and then when they didn't have Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett stepped in. He wasn't the craziest guy passing the ball, but he was enough to keep them in the games, and he was enough to just give Frank Reich what he wanted.
Probably the closest example I can think of that is 2017. Case Keenum was the third string guy in Minnesota, and he led the Vikings to the NFC Championship. So,
yeah,
sorry, Saints fans.
Yeah, I talk about this, maybe not every show, but a lot of shows, that in the NFL, it's about having a lot of good players. And when you have a roster like Indianapolis, it's one of the teams that they don't need a superstar quarterback to go to the playoffs. Phillip Rivers took them to the playoffs at 11-5. Now, granted, that's 11 wins, but Phillip Rivers was good, not awesome last year. He's one of the middle tier quarterbacks that some weeks they look like a top 10 to 12 guy, and then some weeks they look like a bottom 10 guy. But they're going to be like the 17th best quarterback every week, and there is value in that. And I'm kind of making a mockery of my Lamar Jackson debates last week when, there's value in being the 17th. Whatever. There is value in being the 17th best quarterback on a given week. Phillip Rivers had that value. Carson Wentz, gives you more upside there, but he also gives you that chance of being this guy who his stats last year, a horror show. So the new Purge movie came out a couple weeks ago, right? It's like Infinite War,
the Forever Purge.
Yeah, the Forever Purge. So if you want to see a horror movie, I want you to go to your phone, go to Safari or Google or whatever browser you use, go to Pro Football Reference, type in Carson Wentz, and just look at his 2020 stats. They are abysmal, ugly. It makes Sam Darnold look like a star. This makes Drew Lock, friend of the show, look like a star. Oh my goodness. The things Carson Wentz did last year as a quarterback should not have been
What are we looking at?
Carson Wentz's stats last year. The Eagles game should have been on tape delay. They were so bad.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I think he led the NFL in interceptions
rating,
and he missed 4 weeks. He and Cousins tied. At least Cousins had 600 attempts. Wentz missed 4.5 games. Wentz was abysmal.
His QB rating was 49.6.
Oh.
Yes. Wentz was so bad last year, and you think he can come in with the upside. He had the 2017 season with Frank Reich. I understand. I get it. But, yeah, like Teeks in the chat, looking at Carson Wentz's stats last year is something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Yeah, go for any other punishment. Fantasy football leagues, if you go 1-11, your punishment should have to be look at Carson
Wentz's stats from 2020.
Yeah, exactly. Justin, another friend of the show, please never put Drew Lock and Star in the same sentence again. Look, I agree. Although I guess we both did there. With that said, give Jacob Eason a shot. I haven't been the biggest Eason fan. Of course, I live in Georgia now, or I have always lived in Georgia. I go to college in Arizona. I wasn't the biggest fan of him when he was here. Then he went to Washington. Wasn't the biggest fan of him when he was a Husky. But the Colts coaches, as far as I know, like Eason a lot. And this is a case that while I did throw out, hey, go get Foles, go get Hoyer, go get, whoever, QB3, Blake Bortles, whatever. Jacob Eason might be worth a start.
Gardner Minshew.
Minshew's interesting. I don't know if the Jags want him in the division, though.
That's what I'm saying. But I know he wanted to get out, and he was not taking the second string starter, so I wanted to see how that may be.
I am interested to see what happens there. I would think Jacksonville wants to keep Minshew as like a backup because, like I've said earlier, you want as many good players as possible. Having a backup quarterback that can play meaningful NFL snaps is important. The Jets having the Jets
I
have
can't wait to talk about the Jets in a second.
One completion on their roster right now. It's by a wide receiver. Rookie Zach Wilson has none. 2020 pick James Morgan has none, and Mike White, I believe, was undrafted. He has none. None of them have attempts. Crowder was at least, I think, 1 for 1. With that said, I would give a chance to Eason. He has a big arm. He can, stretch it deep with Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell, the remnants of T.Y. Hilton. And if you get like a little bit of play action, you get something going down the field deep. Eason might only have to throw the ball 15 times. Eason may only have to throw it 20 times. And the Colts can win games. I said, oh, yeah, Titans fans, you should be excited. This might be the best thing to happen for the Colts because a guy like Eason, he's not – I think with Eason, he's not going to think, I'm 2017 Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is going to think, oh, yeah, I'm 2017 Carson Wentz, back with the break. I'm going to be boop, 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 boop. No, you're not. Carson Wentz is a fundamentally bad quarterback right now. He has to show me that he has made significant improvements. Even 2019, Carson Wentz wasn't very good. Yeah,
Carson Wentz, I feel like, is kind of injury prone. I
think his whole lower half is just made of glass. Like it's like that guy from SpongeBob who walks out every day. I break my legs, I break my bones. I love Carson Wentz, and I was a big supporter coming out of state like that. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be good.
And his rookie year, he looked insane.
He looked promising, almost like an RG3, like an RG3. Like, oh, this guy has potential, and then sadly the injuries just ruined him. And I think mentally he wasn't there last year. No. And I think this year for the first time, because I believe if you're a quarterback on that Colts team like Eason or Wentz, you have to succeed because you have a plethora of depth, offensive line, defensive line. You have everything ready to go for you. And it's sad because we wanted Carson Wentz to be kind of his reverence of his old years, but history catches up and it always repeats itself at times.
It kind of reminds me of Todd Gurley a little bit. Like he would look like he showed all the promise in the world, MVP seasons, and then he gets hurt. Ironically, Carson Wentz's ACL injury in 2017 came against the Rams, and Gurley's knee issues came against the Eagles in 2018. So these guys hurt each other a lot. Pretty much.
The thing about is Gurley, I liked it because at least we saw 3 years of a good Gurley.
Yeah,
and we saw one his rookie year, and then it's just like we are always left thinking.
We saw like a year and
some change.
14 weeks, pretty much.
Like 2017 Carson Wentz was an awesome quarterback and wins MVP if he play. He's one of the guys that doesn't win MVP because he didn't play 16 games. If he had just played 16 games, I think he beats out Brady. And you hate to see it. It's like Mike Trout every year. If Mike Trout plays 140 games, he's going to win the MVP. Like it just point blank. And I imagine this is going to be how it is with Ohtani moving forward.
Yeah, I was going to say Shohei.
If he plays 120 games and makes 30 starts, he's a shoe-in to win MVP or at least be top 5. And then if he's like this year, he's having an all-time great season, he's going to win MVP. But I do feel bad for Wentz. I do feel bad for Eagles fans. But at this point, this might be a blessing in disguise because if you get Jacob Eason, I don't think Eason has he doesn't have like the yips, right? We've all seen players with the yips, guys that just, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Even Simone Biles, shout out to Simone Biles, mentioned the twisties with gymnastics. When you're in your head and you can't perform, it goes wrong. Wentz looked horrific last year. Eason, Wentz is more talented than Eason. Wentz has played meaningful NFL games at a high level. Eason is not. But Eason and that Colts coaching staff, Frank Reich and co., they might be a prime destination to say, hey, you're going to come in, you're going to throw 20 passes a game, 25 maybe. You're going to stretch the field, but you're going to do a lot of handing the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. You're going to do run a lot of mesh. So you're going to run mesh, you're going to hand the ball off, and you're going to throw bombs. I think Eason can do two of those things at a good level.
Give me a stat line for Eason if he starts the whole. Say he starts the first 3 weeks, they like what he sees, and then they keep him in. What is his stat line if Wentz is not back?
I don't know. I think a good stat line, if he has 2 touchdowns per interception, and he throws for maybe 200 yards a week. If he's between 3,000 and 3,500 passing yards, that's an awesome season out of Jacob Eason.
Yeah.
And if he throws, 20 touchdowns and 10, if he has a 2019 Josh Allen season, the Colts win. Or I don't want to say they win the division because Tennessee. I'd like Tennessee to win the division anyways. The Colts make the playoffs if Jacob Eason has 3,300 yards. If he's 2019 Josh Allen.
Limited turnovers.
Subtract some of the negative plays. If he's a more conservative 2019 Josh Allen, they make the playoffs. So we do have, I guess it's breaking news. Carson Wentz foot injury is not season ending. So the Jacob Eason scenario, you know what? I'm going to just anoint myself Jacob Eason fan club member. I don't know who's leading that fan club, but Jacob Eason fan club. I'm in it. I think they can win
with you too. I'm on board.
All right, let's go.
You got me. You
got us both. Let's see.
So I'm going to have I'm going to get roasted in the comments in a couple weeks when I posted Jacob Eason fan club. He's a bum. Okay, whatever. He might be better than Drew Lock at this point.
Might be.
I don't know. Imagine Drew Lock in Indianapolis. Well, actually, Denver has better weapons.
Yeah, I was like, Drew Lock's got a good setup. He just doesn't know how to give it to them. Yeah, he doesn't know how to throw a ball.
Yeah,